You don't want to lose weight, you want to keep it off.
I just see coupling exercise with the spiritual side.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Amen. And that would be a compound movement, so we're doing legs and biceps.
And then I'm going to throw in some frozen strawberries.
And we're talking about T is for team, personal challenge. And with God, you can make this program successful so that you can lose weight and keep it off through a bod for God lifestyle.
Hello, and welcome back to the Losing to Live Weight Loss Challenge. I'm Lindsay Johnson, and I want to celebrate with you as we start week number 7. I'm so glad you've made it this far in this special 12-week series. If you're like me, I like my meals to be fast and convenient. That can often lead to fatty foods without the nutrition your body needs and craves. I know this can be a tough issue to tackle. So this week, we're going back to the kitchen to learn the good foods you should eat for a healthier bod for God. It will not only make you feel better, it will glorify God. Let's join the other Losing to Live team members with Pastor Steve Reynolds right now.
Welcome to Losing to Live. I'm so glad to have you back for week number 7. And I'm so excited about this week because today we begin looking at that third key. We've already looked at D, which is dedication, and I, which is inspiration. Now we're going to talk about E. What's E? E is eat and exercise. Eat and exercise. It's about managing your habits because remember, you got to eat less and exercise more. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is you got to manage your habits. And that's what we're going to begin talking about today as we talk about this important issue of eating. Something we got to do, right? We got to eat. So we got to learn how to eat in a way that we can honor God with our body. Our memory verse for this week is this, 1 Thessalonians 4, verse 4, that each of you should know how to possess his own vessel in sanctification and honor. See, God wants us to know how. How can we take charge of our body, tell our body what it's going to do when it comes to eating rather than our body telling us what it's going to do? That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, our bod for God thought this week is so important, and that is this thought: eat for your health, not your happiness. See, too often we look at food and we say, well, I don't like that food. Hey, remember, deny yourself. Remember, it's not about your happiness, it's about your health. So we got to learn how to eat for our health and not our happiness. And right now we're going to go to a kitchen and we're going to learn how we can eat for our health and not just our happiness. I actually have some of that almond breeze in my refrigerator right now.
Well, that would be a really good choice for your breakfast.
Yeah, I really like it. Hey, we're glad to have you with us. I told you we were going to the kitchen, and here we are. And I have one of my good friends with me today. Her name is Annette Reeder, and Annette is a biblical nutrition consultant. She's also an author and a speaker, and I'm so glad to have her with us today. And I want to remind you of our bod for God thought for this week. It is this: eat for your health, not your happiness. Annette, what do you think of that statement?
Well, I think it's a good statement, but what if you could do both?
That would be great. I'd like that.
Well, then I'll show you.
Please.
Well, today we're going to go through a full day's menu. And one, we're going to compare a dieter's dilemma to a healthy harvest.
Sounds great.
You
I
ready?
like that. Yes, I do.
So the first meal of the day would be our breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And in America, typically when we're in a hurry, people reach for the cereal. And what I want you to notice about this bowl of cereal is that's an average serving. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I would.
But that's 3 times what it says on the box that you should eat. Something to keep in mind. And another option people go for is fast food. And I've actually sat outside the fast food restaurants and timed them. And they're in line 5 to 7 minutes. What if I can show you how to use those 5 minutes and make something really healthy instead? So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to show you how to make a really good, powerful smoothie. And to make a smoothie, we need a base. So it's either going to be a good milk source, a juice, or even yogurt. Now, juice, I'm going to kind of not use that today because it's got a lot of sugars, and since people are trying to lose weight and win the competition, let's save that for when we're in maintenance. So instead, we're going to go ahead and use some almond milk. And we'll open that up. Now to this, we're going to add some yogurt because I actually like to use both of these as my base for my smoothie. And then I'm going to throw in some frozen strawberries. And I'm going to top it off with some protein. All right, then we're going to quickly mix it up. And there we have it. We are ready to go.
Sounds like we are.
A lot quicker than the drive-through, isn't it?
Yeah, and a lot healthier, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Much better choice.
And the thing is, many of us are familiar with the saying that says, all's well that ends well. But what I'd like people to think about is all's well that begins well. Weight loss begins with breakfast.
Right. And one of the common denominators of people that are overweight, I'm telling you, is they don't eat breakfast. But you got to break the fast, okay? And that's what breakfast is about. And you got to get your day started off right and give your body what it needs to function.
Now this smoothie is loaded with protein and fiber. So that's going to hold you over until lunch. But just in case you want a snack in the morning to keep that metabolism going, we have another option. Now for Dieter's Dilemma, this is a granola bar. This is not a bad choice.
Right.
But when we're trying to lose weight, there are healthier options. Both of these have the same amount of sugars. The difference is this one has more vitamins and minerals and more fiber. This is going to keep us from getting hungry soon. So this is our Dieter's Dilemma, and this would be our healthy harvest.
I actually eat an apple a day, and an apple a day does keep the doctor away. Okay? And it's really one of the best food sources in the world that God created. And now we get to talk about what?
We're going to do lunch.
Lunch.
And a really good lunch.
Sounds good.
So a lot of times, once again, Americans are in a hurry. So they typically will go through the drive-through. So this is an average lunch for people, a Subway sandwich, some chips, and some cookies. Now I'm not saying any of these foods are bad, but what we're here for is to lose weight and get it off.
Right.
So we can go back to these at another time, but during our weight loss, to really get that weight loss going and going quickly, we're going to make some wraps today.
Okay, it sounds fun to me.
So since you're going to be enjoying this meal, why don't you make your own? And you can use whatever you want. I'm going to start with some hummus as the base of mine.
Yeah, I eat hummus almost every day.
And then I'm going to let you use some pesto sauce for your base,
All right.
which is really good. A lot of herbs and a lot of rich nutrients. You're going to love it.
Sounds interesting.
Then you get to top it with whatever you want. We've got some great spinach leaves here. We've got some cucumber slices, a mixture of some cucumbers and some carrots and mushrooms and onions, just anything you want. And then you can top yours off with some fresh turkey. I'm going to just make mine a vegetarian one because the hummus has the protein that I need.
Okay.
So let's go for it.
I'm definitely a meat eater, that's for sure. So this is a lot different than when I weighed 340 pounds every day. It was a drive-through. I went to different ones and got the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 or whatever, and that led to 300.
You're going to need a lot more pesto sauce on that.
Really?
You need to cover the whole bottom with that.
Okay, all right.
You see these condiments that we're using, the hummus and the pesto, they take the place of mayonnaise and
Right.
mustard, which really are not giving us any health benefits.
Okay.
And these are loaded with nutrients.
Excellent.
So I'm going to even throw on some green peppers and some red peppers and some onions.
Oh yeah, the more colors the better. That's what I've learned. Just variety, and all this living food God made. All these colors have different nutritional value, and just try to make it as colorful and pretty as possible.
Now, if I was at home in my kitchen getting ready for the day, I would go ahead and grill these vegetables and put them on here nice and hot. And then I would top it off with my feta cheese, and it would be scrumptious. So there we go. There's our wrap. And I'm just going to roll that up.
Me, so.
Just a little bit.
The
It's also
meat.
very filling. And so, as you can see, better choices besides the chips and the cookie would be some fresh fruit and some vegetables. So I'm going to go ahead and put my wrap right in here.
Okay, you know how to wrap better than I do, so that's a Steve Reynolds man's wrap right
Well,
there. Okay,
yes.
That's how you do it. That's a pretty wrap you got there. So
Now, for a woman, like myself, I would only need one of these. But for someone like you, 2 wraps would be very good and a very healthy choice.
Yeah, one's good enough for me.
So there we have it. We have a very healthy lunch, and as you can see, it's going to be extremely filling.
Yes, it is. Looks delicious and looks happy and healthy. That's what I like about it.
Okay, but then the afternoon comes along.
Right.
And a lot of times people get hungry. I'm not sure they will after that kind of a lunch, but if they do, we have options.
Yes.
Now in Dieter's Dilemma, oh, and we forgot our Coke that normally goes with that,
Right, yep.
that type of a meal. And whereas with that choice, we would have had water to drink.
Right.
So in Dieter's Dilemma, as far as our afternoon snack, many times people are running to the vending machine. So this would be a choice that they might make. But what I want to tell you is a healthier choice.
This is my favorite snack right here.
This is raw almonds. They're not roasted, they're not salted, they're not sugared, they're not honeyed.
Raw.
They're just raw.
Yep.
And this may not look like a lot. That's actually 1 ounce of nuts. And compare that to a bag of chips, it's like, well, that's not going to be enough to fill me up. But the fats inside this almond are going to keep you satisfied.
Right.
So when dinner comes,
That
you're
is
not
so
going to
true.
be ravaging through the kitchen to
Right.
grab whatever you can.
Yep.
And not only that, here's what I want the people to realize when they're in this competition is that the fats in this almond actually help get rid of belly fat.
I need that.
But here's the key. It's the proportions that make it work. 1 ounce makes it work, 2 ounce doesn't.
Right.
So we've got to eat the right amount. So there's
Correct.
our afternoon snack that's going to keep us satisfied throughout the day.
We've had lunch and we've had an afternoon snack. Hey, dinner's next.
All right, here we have some meatloaf, some broccoli, and some mashed potatoes. That would be our Dieter's Dilemma. And let me show you how we can transform that. That meatloaf being 6 ounces, and it's made out of 85% lean beef. By switching that out with 95% lean beef and cutting down 2 ounces, I saved myself 200 calories.
That's a lot.
Do you know how long it takes me to work out in the gym and burn 200 calories?
That is incredible.
So just by changing the meat, upgrading, cutting down on my proportions, I saved 200 calories. Besides that, I've added the broccoli, and then I've added a really big, nice salad.
Yeah,
So,
I keep broccoli around all the time, and it's great. And salad, absolutely. I try to eat 1, and a lot of times I eat 2 a day.
but your topping on your salad is what's important.
That's right.
So a good balsamic vinegar is perfect. It enlivens the flavors. You're going to love it. Your taste buds are going to be excited,
Yep.
and your body's going to say thank you.
Right.
So this would be our healthy harvest. And here's our Dieter's Dilemma.
That was
Yeah.
incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Now we come to dessert.
Dessert.
Typical
A
American
healthy
dessert.
and happy dessert.
Well, typical American dessert is ice cream.
Right.
And
Oh
this-
my goodness. That's
this is
my
actually-
#1 addiction right there. So.
But this is actually double the size of what the portion should be on the container.
Oh,
And that's not even a normal
I
size.
didn't want to think about it.
Okay, so there's our ice
That's
cream.
double.
That's double.
Well, okay.
And then another dessert that we can make that would be very helpful would be a yogurt parfait. We've got our granola, giving us lots of fiber. We've got our fresh blueberries and the yogurt, lots of protein, lots of fiber. Once again, we're loaded with nutrition.
Yeah, I have yogurt every day, and I keep blueberries around. I have them every day. Great source of antioxidants.
And one thing to look out for is what we're using to, what we're drinking during our meals. So I've made 2 glasses of tea, one for the Dieter's Dilemma, only in this one I've used real sugar. And this other one, and these are actually blueberry flavored tea, I've used a sweetener called Sweet Leaf, which is made from the stevia plant.
Right, that's what I use for sweeteners, stevia.
So no calories added, nothing artificial, because I only want the real food to build a real body.
Right.
And then I've saved myself a lot of calories.
Yeah, that's incredible. Man, this makes me happy and healthy.
Okay,
I still can't believe that ice cream. That's no wonder I weigh 340 pounds. That's nothing right there. I probably had 4 servings a day then.
so here you can see that we've gone from a Dieter's Dilemma, not all bad choices, but not the best choices for losing weight, to a healthy harvest.
Right.
And as you can see, we don't have to starve to lose weight.
No, this is very filling, absolutely. And it's so good to be able to eat for your health and your happiness. And the longer you eat for your health, the happier you enjoy your life and you look forward to what you eat. In the beginning, I looked at it like a sacrifice. But as I got into this and had a bond for God, I love this stuff. I love what God has given to us. Can I have that? I just keep
You
looking at
can,
it.
but I want to share with you the recap of what we've really done
Okay.
today. This meal here is over 3,500 calories. The Dieter's Dilemma. This meal here is 1,300 calories. Does it look like 1,300 calories?
No, it doesn't. No,
Well,
it
it is.
doesn't.
And that's not the
That
biggest
is
thing.
stunning. I can't believe that. That's awesome.
The sugar grams over here is 148. That is 35 teaspoons of sugar in this meal plan. Over here, we have the sugar grams of 58. That's only 13 teaspoons of sugar. And the sugars that we're getting over here are from our natural fruits. Now that's not all. The fiber in this meal is 29 grams. Now that's not bad considering the national average is around 10 to 15. So that's not bad choices. But we've done better. We've increased it to 48 grams of fiber.
Gotta have that fiber.
People who want to lose weight and keep it off, the higher the fiber content, the better they're going to feel. They're going to feel full. They're not going to be craving.
Right.
And they're going to lose weight. The protein in these meals varies. This one is 131 grams, whereas our Healthy Harvest is 100 grams. Now I know when people are trying to lose weight, they're concerned about their protein, but actually this protein is in perfect balance with our fat and our fiber to make it so that we lose the right weight, which is the fat, not our muscle.
Yep.
And then we go on to the fat grams. The fat grams in this meal here is 120 grams. That's a lot of fat.
That is a lot of fat.
This meal here is 37 grams of fat.
And that includes that healthy fat in those
That
almonds.
includes those almonds,
Yep.
those healthy fats.
Yes.
So there you have it. We've gone from a dieter's dilemma to a healthy harvest. And look
Wow.
at all of that we get to enjoy that
And I
God's
tell you,
given us.
Happy and healthy. I've got to eat this. I can't resist this any longer. So.
Well, then maybe I'll join you.
Yeah. Well, you're a grape eater, and I'm a wrap eater.
Well, I grew up on a farm. I am the oldest of 5 kids. So a farm in terms of what you expect, roosters, chickens, pigs, cows, horses. And very rural. I had a stay-at-home mom and a dad who was a laborer who worked on heavy equipment. Actually, weight was not a problem for me. I was an extremely thin child to the point where they were very concerned that I was underweight. And I did not actually gain weight until I got out of college. So as a little kid, they were constantly trying to get me to eat more and to fatten me up and to get me up to the standards of the weight chart. After I got out of college and started working full time and then got married, I think the lifestyle change was a part of it. My self-esteem took a real nosedive, and needless to say, the person I married, my husband's like, what happened to that other person? So I tried a lot of different ways of losing weight, and then I'll be honest, almost every diet or program I went on, I lost weight. But the problem would be that I would go back to my old habits, and then I'd gain back that weight plus some. So it just kept going up and up and up. I think that I was eating to fill some emotional needs. I think that when I got out of college, at that point in time I was feeling unfulfilled because I had this desire to continue with education and perhaps get into a different occupation. So I think that all of me wasn't being met. So I was trying to eat to fill the holes. The Lord was constantly prodding me and trying to get me to move. I know that now in hindsight. I don't think I knew it then. By either various sermons, materials I would pick up from various stores, Christians who would witness to me, and I heard it. That's why sometimes I'd go off to try another program or another effort to lose weight, but then would revert back. I heard about Losing to Live about 2.5 years ago, and that was when I was already starting to be prodded, for lack of a better word, more by God. I actually woke up one morning, this is going to sound very strange, literally speaking alive a scripture out loud. And the one that basically said that I beseech you to present your body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. I didn't even know I knew that scripture, but I pulled the Bible out and I looked it up, and it's in Romans 12:1. Yes. And I was like, well, Lord, that's what I've been trying to do all along, and it has not worked. How can I possibly do this verse? And then in Romans 12:2 was the answer, that is by the renewing of your mind. Around the time all of this was happening with God feeding me, I heard For God on the radio. And I'm thinking, this might be the answer because it's a biblical-based weight loss program. And so you would think that I would have immediately signed up and come running over. No, you probably don't know me very well. because I was not approaching this enthusiastically, even though I knew God was prodding, pushing, shoving me there. So they had a kickoff on a Saturday, and then the first session was a Sunday. I didn't come because Monday was my birthday, and I planned on, it was my 50th birthday actually. I was planning on having a big birthday party and having cake and ice cream, and you don't want to go way in and talk about losing weight then. So Tuesday morning comes though, and conviction comes again. So I called the church, hoping that it's too late for this time, so that'll give me like 10 more weeks to continue on my bad habits. Well, you know, Pastor Steve Reynolds, that anti-fat pastor, called me back and left me a message. And I hadn't gotten back to calling him back, and I'm sitting at home, and there he is calling me back again saying, hey, did you get my message? When are you coming over? And I said, I think it's too late. He said, no. What time can you come tomorrow? And he would not get off the phone until I gave him a time. And God has a sense of humor. The instructor for my session weighed exactly the amount that I did when she first started. And she had gone from a size 22 and she was now a size 6. It was kind of hard to say to her, you don't know what you're talking about and it won't work for me. So that's how I began the journey. The inspiration is that I had about 3.5 years ago a number of immediate family members who became ill, and I was taking them to the doctors and medical appointments and helping with medication and things like that. And then part of all of that, because there were multiple members, I started experiencing medical symptoms myself. And then it dawned on me it would serve no purpose. If the caregiver fell down too, then all of us would be in a bad situation. And I realized if I wanted to be a caregiver and be around, especially for my mother, I needed to do something about my health and my situation. The exercise and the eat piece is about managing my habits, and what I've learned through that is making the small, simple changes. Like I try to walk at least 3 or 4 times a week. I drink more water. I take the stairs versus the elevator when I can. I park further out in the parking lot and haul the groceries back to the car. I've learned to shop more on the outer edges of the grocery store where the living food is versus the processed foods. I now am always carrying a healthy snack with me so I don't succumb to my old habit, snack machines and fast food restaurants. And I'm learning portion control. That I need the fuel for the body, but I don't need nearly as much as I think I do. The T is the team. And I've been on 5 or 6 different teams since I've been in Bod for God now, and all of them have been helpful and encouraging. But I'm going to tell you a story about my first team that's sticking with me even still. The first 10 week, they asked us to make a commitment to give up something that would help us reach our goal during the 10 weeks. And I made a commitment to the team that I would not go to fast food for 10 weeks. So every week the team was checking in to see how that fast food thing was going, because an old pattern was I work late at night, swing by, get the food, go home and eat and go to bed. And with the team encouraging me, I did not go to fast food drive-through for an entire 10 weeks. And even now, here it is, like almost 2 years later, if I am thinking about fast food, I reflect back on that team and that commitment, and I rarely ever go to fast food. And if I'm forced to because there's no other choices, then I make a conscious choice to eat the lowest and most calorie and the most healthy on the menu. So here it is 2 years later, and that 10-week commitment to that team has made a difference still. And my team, I expanded it to include my coworkers, my friends, Christians at church, as well as 2 members of my immediate family have joined me in Bod for God. So now when we get together as a family, all of us there are reinforcing each other, and we're all trying to eat better and make healthy life choices. Incremental changes in terms of the first time going out to walk, saying, okay, I'm tired, this is 10 minutes, I'm good, I'm whipped, versus now truly being able to walk through an hour and look forward to it. The same thing about the fact that I thought the first time I had one of those, I'm stressed out at work and I can't go to the snack machine, and literally getting the money out of your purse and having it in your hand and going and standing in front of the machine and thinking, well, maybe this one time it won't matter, to the point now I'm thinking, you don't really need to do this. So those small incremental kind of changes. And my favorite is, of course, going to the grocery store, where you put all the things in the basket you would have picked along the way, and then thinking, okay, God, they said I should pray before I leave the grocery store, and spending the next half an hour putting it back on the shelf because I shouldn't have had it in the first place in the basket. And then one day I encountered the anti-fat pastor in the grocery store as I'm about to check out, and he says, let me see what's in your basket. And I knew I had changed because there was nothing in there that I felt ashamed of.
What a beautiful woman with a beautiful testimony. Interesting how it wasn't until later in life that she struggled with weight. But thanks to God and hearing about losing to live on the radio, she was able to learn how to honor the Lord with her body and the food she put in it. Now she's got a new Bod for God lifestyle. This week's theme verse, 1 Thessalonians 4:4, that each of you should know how to possess his own vessel in sanctification and honor. Something Betty talked about that helped her and will probably help you. This week we talked about E is for eat. Next week, another E word, exercise. We'll see you then.